What's up, ladies and gents? Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much for spending a Monday evening with us. What's up, Tiger? How you doing, brother?
Doing okay. How's yourself, Frosty?
I am doing well, trying to stay out of trouble and trying to, keep things fun and interesting.
Good.
You see the video I did with my wife?
Yeah, I did. Clunk.
Oh, man. She's such a good sport. If you haven't seen that, go watch that short. It's hilarious. So what
Yeah.
is on your agenda? What you got going on right now?
Well, I did a day's worth of hospitalist work today. We'll do it tomorrow, then do ER on Wednesday, see hospitalist patients on Thanksgiving, and then head home. So that's going to be my week. Um, Kind of nice to do some work once in a blue moon.
Oh, completely understand. Yeah, I was out for a while and I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And I have to admit, the birthday present my wife got me the electric bike. I took it for a test spin. Man, it felt nice. Thanks for the advice.
Well, yeah, and you got that fat tire one, right?
Yeah, fat tire from a fat butt.
Well, it's amazing how well they go over. And you and I were talking about that, the thin tire. People think that's better. It's actually it's very much a rougher ride than the large tire. I knew you'd like that better. So that's awesome. Happy birthday gift on that one. What's up, Yox now? What's going on, brother? Hey, Teach, how are you? Me, Ground Fog, good to see you all. We got a bunch of people incoming very slowly. It's not our normal day, so most people may not be tracking that we're even going live today. So if you're listening, please sound off in chat and say hi. What's up, War? How you doing? Yeah, there's some eye candy there.
You know, the best eye candy, I have to admit, is always.
Oh, I can't argue with you. Yeah, not at all.
That's the one gold back that you like.
That is fact. That is fact. Yeah, I definitely like that piece.
You just wait till you see the $5 piece from Arizona.
You were
That
saying that
that
earlier. I haven't
that
even seen that design.
that girl rivals this girl. They would be like in top competition, being the hottest girl in the high school.
You have sparked my interest. I'm going to pull that up.
I wouldn't know which one I would want first, the pirate girl to walk me off the plank, or the girl with the six shooter at the OK Corral and just let her put one in between the eyeballs.
Well, let's pull that up and talk about that because I had not seen this before. So let me place the screen share. Pull this because I got to tell you, that is not a bad looking piece.
I told you, dude, she's rivaling the pirate girl for head cheerleader of the high school, dude.
Yeah, it's a pretty good design, and I love the story. You know me, numismatist,
Yeah,
numismatics. I love being in and around. You know what? Silver dollars were
yeah,
there. I like there's so much cool history about that stuff. It's a really neat design. I really like that. It's pretty cool.
yeah.
I had
It
not
is.
been tracking the Arizona stuff. I'm gonna have to look at it. And again, you and I talked about goldbacks a ton. I don't have any problem with goldbacks as an art form, but we won't even talk about the other.
Well, I'm just telling you, I'd let either one of them, put me at risk. One on the plank or the other one at the OK Corral. Put on bump.
Oh, you're nuts.
Damn straight. There's something about a hot girl who's dangerous. Don't tell wifey I said that.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. So what you been reading about today? Anything fun?
Oh, not a whole lot. I mean, what's in the news?
Actually, a really good question. So I'm going to share this really fast. I heard a ding ding, gold sniping farmer member for 10 months. Thank you so much, gold sniping farmer. Greatly appreciate that. By the way, folks, if you haven't already seen it, there is a little question down there for you. Will silver rise drastically again in 2 to 3 months? This is the topic of the day. We're going to be talking about why we're asking that question. So please fill out that and let's see where we're at here in the next little while. Right now we're sitting at about 15 votes. So let's see if we can get some more in there. Pretty split. Yes, no. It's going to be interesting to see. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. As far as the news, there was something that I saw. Again, today we're talking primarily numismatics, or primarily stacking, but I want to do this numismatic piece. Tiger, when we were talking before, you said something about you really didn't know what I was talking about when I said the Silk Road.
True.
So I know there's a lot of people in here who know what the Silk Road is, but this guy is going to be talking about the numismatic history of the Silk Road. He's going to be showing and talking about some amazing gold and silver coinage, talking about what was happening during this 1500-year time span between Rome and China and all that civilization between. He is the curator of the Colorado Springs Museum of Money, the Edward Rochette Money Museum. It is a fabulous thing. It's sponsored by the A&E. It's going to be on Zoom. And I have got this link here. I'm going to throw this into chat here in just a minute. And you can actually go and register for it. It is free. They ask for your information. You can see that I have mine in there. You click You're Not a Robot, and then bam, you register for this pretty neat piece. And again, if you like history and you like talking about this stuff, the ANA is a really good place. If you're not a member, I don't normally suggest becoming members of lots of different sites, but the education, if you're looking at coin collecting or really understanding about the history of numismatics or wanting to know how numismatics is subdivided, you want to learn about counterfeiting, you want to learn about youth, if you have grandkids or kids that want to know more about this stuff, there's a whole section for them. So lots of great opportunity when it comes to the ANA. But again, I thought this was really cool. You guys know me and my history. I love to talk about this stuff. And so I thought this would be a really fun thing to share with everybody in the news. So fun stuff. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
As we've been looking through some of the things, we saw an article that came out. It was given to us by a subscriber to the channels. And in there was an article. So let's go ahead and move in to the topic of today, and let's get into what we're going to be talking about. All right, let me pull this up because this is something that was received. Oops, I'm not sharing my screen. This was something that was received November 19th. We're talking, a week ago, talking about silver and gold and what was happening in relation to where the silver has gone. Talked about the spot prices going up and that we've seen massive prices. And then it talked a little bit about the LBMA. Now, the LBMA, for those of you who aren't tracking, most of you are stackers, collectors, you know the LBMA stands for the London Bullion Market Association. They are to the United States Treasury. That's where all the bullion and stuff goes. And then you tie things like stock markets like Nikkei and Wall Street, those groups together. They're the major managers of finance, whether it be precious metals or ones and zeros. And they were saying that this line right here is that rumor has it that London silver squeeze was only relieved by leasing silver from China. Now, Tiger, you and I talked about this. You actually have some good data on this. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. And that silver could be surging again in 3 months because that quote unquote supply shortage truly wasn't resolved. So will you talk a little bit about, I'm going to unshare this, talk a little bit about what you found in relation to that question. Let's kind of start with the things that we do know. What are those factual bases for that statement?
Well, basically, this topic is kind of a factual basis about the available silver in London. Basically, they don't have enough actual silver to supply demand for physical. And there's been uh, requests for a physical uh, to be sent to different places. The biggest one being India. So they didn't have enough. So basically, they were getting uh, stockpiled from uh, like the COMEX and depleting that as well. So this dwindling free floating inventory, basically the free floating is metal not backing ETFs or contracts, has dropped to critically low levels.
You want to try to say that again?
uh, estimated to be basically as low as 140 to 200 million ounces, uh, which was below the daily trading volume of for about 6 weeks on the global demand. So they just didn't have it. So basically, is a silver squeeze. So and then I went into this one article that was in November from Kitco, where it talked about that.
That's September. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So then this article right here, which is talks about
The leasing.
what's that?
The leasing.
Yeah, the leasing, and basically, there uh, somehow, and I don't understand the quite the concept, but instead of them kind of taking physical, they're leasing the physical to them, but that has to be paid back and has to be paid back with interest. So, that kind of sets the tone for a lot of the prices that affect the global economy, including us. You see what I'm saying?
I do. And one thing that's important to look at here, um, there's been a lot of stuff that Tiger's gone over, but to kind of break it out a little bit. One of the major issues when it comes to leasing, and if you guys don't know what leasing is, he kind of explained, but leasing it's kind of like the United States Mint leases silver, the Royal Mint, Canadian Mint, Australian Mint, when they have the silver just sitting there, not necessarily being put to use. And so what they do is they lease it. They do short-term temporary leases. The silver sits there. It still sits on their physical property, but somebody else is basically borrowing against that, or they're actually lending money against that silver. Short-term, silver rises, silver falls, whatever they do, what they bet against it, however they're going to utilize it. And so they take that money, and then before the mint is allowed to utilize that for coinage, they have to resolve that lease. That way, that what they call that free floating silver can be utilized for the things that it's allotted for. One of the issues with looking at free floating that Tiger was talking about is that just because it's free floating doesn't mean that it's not tied up in that. It could be mint related. It could be having to pay back something like owing India, right? India is a major reason why the LBMA is running short on silver, because they're calling it out. They want their silver. And so they've had to take monies, and we talked a little bit about this, that we know that they've had to take monies from, or silver, excuse me, from the United States as well as China, right? We talked about it a number of times where they actually put a bunch of silver on a plane. They didn't put it on a boat, because again, all my gold's in the bottom of the lake due to an unfortunate boating accident. So they know that. They don't practice that, and they, flew it across. That's not really the reason. It's just a joke, by the way. And so when you go through all of this, right, and you kind of check with that, we know that silver went from U.S. to London. We know that silver came from China. Tiger, do you have the data that shows you how much that was? So when we look at, the factual effort, like, the second part of that, where we're talking about the volumes of release and how much was out there. Do you remember how much was out there?
I remember somewhere in the names of 300, 400 in one of the articles I read. I don't think it was this one. This is the September article. Wonder where that.
Well, and the one thing that was important about that September article, we can kind of get to that. Tell me when you find the screen and I'll bring you back up. September, they talked about that this was going to be an issue, right? But long before silver went up. So they had been talking about this for quite some time. We knew this. We knew that London was in a pickle. We knew that they were trying to get it. But a lot of us weren't understanding how much. And again, he was talking, 1 to 200 ounces or million ounces. It was between 150 and 200 million ounces is what they had in that free floating bullion. And that's to cover all the things they needed for the use of silver. They should be sitting somewhere around 4, 5, 600 million ounces. So everybody was talking about how big the relief was coming from the US, which was between 15, 17, 18 million troy ounces. What a lot of people weren't tracking is how much silver came from China. 5,000 or more tons. And when you're talking about tons, you're talking about 160 or more million ounces of silver that flew from China to London. Now, I don't know that they were physically moved. I'm sure they probably were. But they show that this is a thing that happens on this global scale, right? As stackers and collectors, we sometimes forget that we're little people in this big game, right? And so we're talking about hundreds of millions of ounces being moved back and forth. The question in the article, and what I want Tiger to pull up if he has that. Tiger did most of found most of the articles for all of this, folks. And trying to be a doctor, he's working long hours, so forgive him for being a little tired. But one thing that's important here is that do you have that information up?
I'm looking. The effective rates and precious.
Yeah, no worries. One thing that was important about this is the amount that we covered was the amount that they said they had free floating. So the article looks at, was that silver squeeze actually resolved? Some people are saying, yes, it was. Some people are saying, no, it's not. And this goes into the discussion we want to have. This is a chat-based discussion. Okay? We want you guys to provide, information as you've heard it. Because again, Tiger and I have looked at this, and you've looked at this for a couple of days, right? We've talked about this. Have you found anything about a 3-month lease?
Nothing. That part I don't have to go looking for again because I never saw it in the first place.
And so if everybody's saying that something's happened, but nobody can find the data, what do they call that?
A lie?
Well, speculation, right? And this is something that we talked about on Sunday, which is, folks, don't forget that even though you can hold silver and gold, it's still speculative. Because we only manage like 2 to maybe 3% of all the accounting of silver and gold in the world, right? That's exactly right. BS, rumor mill. Well, and this is what's important when you're looking at, well, OC, we're going to get there here in just a second. Okay. Hello, chat. What are we? Oh, Jackknife. We'll get to that. We'll talk about it in just a minute. I'll give you a quick overview here in a second.
Okay. I got the November article.
Okay. You got the November? Okay. Let's pull that up.
Okay.
And again, when we're pulling information up, we're utilizing sources that all of us use. In this particular case, the LBMA, US Mint, Hitco. I think there was another one that was done through, I think you found it was through the Nikkei, but it's actually written by a company in the UK talking about indexing and stuff, which was a really good article. But again, when you're talking about where silver is and where silver goes, remember that these are commodities, right? This stuff is speculative. And the question that I want to ask, so real quick, Jackknife, there was an article that was released that speculates, and we're saying speculates because Tiger and I haven't been able to actually find, we hear a lot of people talk about it, but nobody's been able to show me the data of where the lease or the silver that was sent to London in the quote unquote silver squeeze was a temporary relieving. It's not actually solving the silver shortage. It wasn't truly alleviated. And if it is in fact a 3-month lease, we're expecting that a surge is going to happen. This is the pretense, the premise of the article. And the problem with the premise of the article is that I can't find the one piece of information that would make that a legitimate thing for me.
But if it's true, all it is a Band-Aid, and at 3 months, the Band-Aid gets ripped off.
So, but here's the question. This is where OC said deception. Is speculation deceptive? No, doesn't have to be. Speculation, if given all the right information, you can make educated assessments and educated discusses. But the question is, if they did this not knowing there actually is a 3-month, yeah, hold on just a sec. I'll put that in there. It's actually not an article. It was an email that was given to me, but I will send you, if I can do a, it's going to be in here. You're going to have to pull up the articles. This was sent to me via email. That's the location of the information that I'm pulling up, Jackknife, if you want to look this up. This is the email that was sent to me that makes this claim. Say again?
You're not sharing your screen if you're trying to share.
I dropped it in chat.
Oh, okay.
Metal Detecting North Carolina. What's going on, bud? How are you? There's no silver shortage. Governments are hoarding most of it. There actually is a silver shortage. That's undeniable. We know from a production standpoint that there's 300 million, or the 300 million ounces short from the items that are being mined from what's actually being sold. Remember that when you're talking about silver, it's not only the precious metal. Now you're having to include people who are buying. So you have to include the lease programs. You have to include the EFTs. You have to include people who are borrowing money on the money that they borrowed, right? This is a common practice within the banking structure. You can borrow up to a certain percentage. That's why they do loans. Now you have that debt. You can borrow against that debt. So the same's happening with silver and gold. All the precious metals have that exact same construct being done. And so what's going on, James? How you doing? Good to see you. What's up, Vote for Pedro? So the question that we have in this particular item, and again, when you look at where are we at with this? We don't have the 3-month. We don't have that 3-month data. It doesn't show up anywhere. You can search it, you can Google it, and you'll find a lot of people reporting on it, but nobody actually has the waybill. Now we can go to, we have data, the Federal Reserve issued data that they gave so much money to the LBMA. We know that they flew it over. It had media coverage. We can track that. On the exchanges, we've seen that China gave that money, that the over 500 tons, the 160 million ounces of silver. We can actually track that. We know that's there. We know it went there. What we don't know is, was that done in the form of a lease? And we have a lot of people speculating. Seeker's done it. Yankees done it. People speculating. Amy Harrell, member for 10 months. Thank you so much. Speculating that these are releases. One was because of our favorite word that, Tiger, I don't know how many times you and I have talked about Trump's tariffs,
Yes.
but because of the tariffs, people are like, well, they're not actually going to send the physical gold. They're not actually going to buy it because they have to pay that 20% or on silver, and then whatever that tariff rate is. And then if they lease it, then they have the EFT leasing rates at something like 30%. So did they physically do it, or did they save money by paying that fee? We don't know the answer to that yet. I take that back. I don't know the answer to that. Tiger, do you know the answer to that?
No, I don't.
Okay. So we see a lot of speculation. And again, even medium-sized, small, big channels, you look at the money market, you'll see that people talk about, yes, we know that that's occurring. And then you'll see people saying, well, we have no definitive answer of that 3-month item. The whole premise of today is we don't have that 3-month information. So the whole premise of the fact that silver is going to shoot the moon in 3 months is a guess, I think, because we haven't been able to find it. So what we want to do is we want to open it up to chat again and say, hey, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Is this reliable information? Is this, now it is a trusted source. I know a lot of people in finance that have dealt with finance a long time. It's definitely considered a trusted and reliable resource for multiple items. The question is this article, does it lean more towards speculative, or do they have their hand, maybe their owners or as them as an investment team, do they have their hand in wanting to short silver? Do they want it to go up ahead of that time and then announce that it wasn't in fact a lease? All that money drops. What do you guys think the premise of this might be? Some of you may know about it, some of you may not know, but we want to just chat about this, right? We actually want to have that discussion. What are your thoughts on this, Tiger?
It makes more sense that it would be a short, because the people who are in control of the shorting usually are the ones who make money by basically pulling the trigger on the short. So then basically it's a way for them to make a lot of fiat money for themselves by hurting people who don't know. Usually, those of us, small people in the world, so to say. So I would lean towards this becoming yet another short, where they cause the squeeze, then cause the short, and helps themselves out. I mean, that's just the nature of how things have played out in the past. What do you think?
Well, we'll get to what I think in a minute. Talk a little bit about industry. I know that you talk a lot about the silver panels and stuff like that. Let's go to industry before I answer my aspect of that.
Okay. Well, this article here, Kidco. Oh, that wasn't the one I wanted. Here we were. This. There we go. The effective rates on precious metals, and Here, let's get down to the silver. Where is it? Here we go. You know, the thing is that we don't have enough silver, and they're certainly not bringing it out of the ground as much as they used to, because the quality of the galena, if you will, the rock that has everything in it, doesn't have as much silver as it used to. So subsequently, you know, we're eating things up on EVs and solar panels and all that. And this article also talked a lot about it in September of this year. Now, granted, we're a little past 2 months since this article was released, but it does talk about, the stockpiles could be depleted within 4 months, right here. That was 4 months from September. And what have we seen between September and now? A lot of things have come to pass.
And that is why, again, when you're talking about the article that I was sent via email, the information that they provide is true and accurate. We knew about it ahead of time. Tiger and I had talked about this back in October. We had talked not exactly this topic, but the same just general thing: solar panels and silver and where it's going to be and how it's going to be utilized, right? And so this is definitely something that you and I have discussed a lot. And there's a lot of different takes, a lot of different opinions on this topic. My thing is, everything in the article seemed accurate and true, but one statement, and the one statement is the thing that I can't find. Vote for Pedro says, with over a 300-to-1 paper to physical current ratio, I would expect the price to continue to be suppressed, with occasional knockdowns to accommodate the ratio. Absolutely, right? That's exactly what we're talking about. And again, when you're talking about the 300-to-1 ratio, okay, remember, folks, the stuff that we deal with as stackers is minutia in retrospect to what's being traded and dealt with as a commodity globally, right? We don't make an impact. I don't care how big of a stacker you are. We don't make an impact. Our voice doesn't really get heard much. And this is why, Tiger's doing stuff with the Representative Chris Pritt, the former delegate Chris Pritt, Sound Money Metals, really working to get some things done, talk about the different states, because it's important that we, the little man's voice, is heard. But when we see people put this information out there, we owe it to ourselves to discuss it. What does it mean? We've been, Jackknife and I had talked kind of periodically over the last couple of days. And when you have the opportunity for discussion, one thing that he's brought to my attention, and Tiger, you and I have talked about this, is like, what do you know versus what do you think you know? And can we defer to expertise? And in this particular case, I don't know where to find the 3-month. I just don't know. Tiger and I can't find it. So if the entire premise of that article rests on the 3-month boost in silver prices, show me the 3-month piece of data. That's the thing I need. And so as we try to bring you discussions and have this stuff with you guys, well, you guys see stuff we might not, right? So we're asking you guys to not necessarily feed us the information, right? Because we've done a lot of research. You can see the tabs that he has open. A lot of those are Kitco. We have some LBMA stuff. We have, again, a lot of different places where we've searched for this. We validated most of the information in that article. We just can't find this one. So Tiger, yes. Occam's razor.
I see. It's been a while since I thought about that one.
The easiest solution is usually the correct one.
The correct one, yeah.
Right. And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, THS, outstanding. I'm glad you got your book. As soon as I get the second one in, I'll be sending it to Vote for Pedro, courtesies of Azure Blue. So outstanding. I'm glad you got your book. For those of you who are not tracking, he was on, or THS was on a Sunday stream or a Saturday stream with our guest Hercules. We were talking about Bitcoin, and I wanted to give something away that Hercules recommended, which was a book on understanding the concepts. And THS and Vote for Pedro both won. So congratulations. I'm glad you got it. I did get something else in the mail. Vote for Pedro. I got a package from you. I'll be opening it here shortly. Looking forward to that. So anyway, I deviated and I got way off track, and I apologize for the diversion. Tiger, can you go back and talk about industry?
Oh, how we don't have enough silver for industry over time?
Well, and why that's such a big deal, and why that helps make silver so volatile.
Well, yeah. We definitely need it for industry. There's not enough being produced out of the ground to keep up with the demand that is being used, and even more so will be used, because when these new batteries for the new EVs come out, they're going to be using a good bit of silver, and they're going to use up what's already above the ground, and probably add in what's being mined and purified from the galena. But it, that'll cause a decreased supply, which will increase the price. However, the the uh, the markets being what they are, they want to keep the price suppressed. Um, and in my personal opinion, because they don't want those of us to realize that real sound money is gold and silver, especially for those of us who buy more silver. So, you got two sides of the argument. You got the the industry wanting more; they want it for a lower price, but them depleting it is going to cause a raise in the price, and something's going to break. And I think that when that that immovable wall gets hit, then the prices are going to start going to their true fundamental value, despite all of the attempts to keep it suppressed. I hope I've answered your question.
You have, and the one thing that you stated is the most important piece. Daryl USA, welcome to the planchette. We got a new member here, folks. Thank you so much for doing that, Daryl. I do appreciate support. And again, folks, if you're not subscribed to channel Tiger Stacker, the Tiger Stacker channel, I guess that is actually correct both ways. Please make sure you're doing that. So if I can have one of my moderators throw Tiger's channel on there, I greatly appreciate it. What's up, Kevin?
Thank you, brother.
So I agree. And I agree for two reasons. Number one, manipulation. We know for a fact, and I talked about this in a video, we know China worked with JP Morgan because they were found guilty and had to pay $400 million in fines for manipulating silver prices. We know silver gets manipulated. Okay. Anybody wants to know on that, go watch that video. I give you all the resources. I can break that down for you guys if you want. But silver manipulation is an absolute known. Actually, any market manipulation is kind of one of those things that it can be illegal. It doesn't matter. There's massive money in it.
But the fines are not that bad compared to the profits that they made from it.
Oh no, they probably made $300 billion. So their fines were what, less than 1%? And so 0.01% actually, if you look at the number, 0.01%. That's unfreaking real. The fines are minutia. They're like, fine, I'll gladly pay them. I made $2.4 billion. Oh, you go ahead and find me the 0.6. No big deal, right? I don't know about you, but I'd take 1.1%. No problem, right? And so again, we know that silver gets manipulated. We know that gold gets manipulated. But the industry availability, kind of like platinum and palladium, the availability, and somebody talk about reclamation, making sure that we reclaim our silver. I think that is a really good opportunity for many people. I think that's something that people could go into. Silver reclamation. Tiger, you know, and we both are huge fans of what's his bucket? Silver gold refiner, does all his own pouring, abstracts metals. Three tips.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of people who would be good at doing that, and on small scale. If we get into a situation where we really do start seeing the squeeze about the availability of silver in raw form, then we're going to need to reclaim that. You know, I think it's going to have to be one of those things. And what happened 2 months ago? Has it even been 2 months ago? I guess it has been. Yeah, it's been just a little over that. Wow, I can't believe it's been over 2 months. It's almost 3 months where the refineries said we're not taking anymore, right? Because we had so much of the stuff that we have to refine. We're so far backlogged, we just can't do anymore. That highlighted some serious issues for the low-level collector stacker like myself, going, if all I stacked at that time was constitutional, I was pretty freaking screwed. Nobody was buying it. Now, when I mean nobody was buying it from the people stacking it. But stackers still could buy it. And if you were buying it at that time frame, you could have got a really good deal on some of that. But, you know, you look at, you know who Trax New York is, Tiger?
No.
Trax New York. How many people in chat? Put a 1 in chat if you've seen the channel on Instagram or on YouTube. Trax, Trax. And I know there's a little bit of delay, so we'll see what's going on. Trax New York, they're a jewelry manufacturing company. They deal a lot with the Diamond District. And this guy, he's funny. He's straight up New Yorker. He tells, yep, Trax NYC. There you go, Kevin. And so he actually did a short where he was at some place in the Diamond District. And there were tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of 90% silver. And he asked the guy, if you had to choose, and he showed them high-end collectible rounds, high-end collectible bars, the Valcambi fractionals, and then it was probably $700 bags of constitutional $50 stuff like that. And he asked the guy, what would you buy one? He's like, today's prices, the constitutional. He said, you'll have a hard time. And they didn't continue it. Mm-hmm. You can hear him slightly in the background, but they edit out selling it back because there's a lot of people just not taking it right now. Right. And so now the refineries have opened since then. We've definitely seen that. But it really points out that you have to diversify even in your stacks.
Yeah.
So when we talk, I'm going to get back to this London squeeze thing. I know I deviated a little bit. I want to get back to this 3 month. Because we don't have the specific data on this 3 month term, then this article becomes market rumor. And if everybody acts off of rumor, that's a really good way to manipulate that market. I know I went a really long way about getting back to your original point, which was done way easier than mine. But yeah, there's massive manipulation, and industry is going to benefit from that. You actually have the article, I don't know if it's in that same article, that says the price, this is ultimately going to push prices to the end user higher, but it's actually going to be more beneficial to the industry, right? Because they'll be able to mine more.
Yeah. They'll go, in my opinion, they'll go uh, pushing the mines to produce when they've used up what they can get their hands on purer than a silver alloy, and then they'll, in my opinion, go after the mines to get the galena, to get the silver out, because that's probably going to be the most expensive and timely obtaining of silver.
Well, and again, there's the whole purpose for having a discussion like this is, Tiger, what is yours and mine mission? Let's remove,
Uh,
you know.
to basically protect people in the community, and to teach, because with the education in itself comes the protection, because you know like the old cartoon GI Joe, knowing is half the battle. If you're teaching people, they're more likely to eventually start learning to protect themselves. So the education and the protection, in my mind, are hand in hand.
So what are your thoughts about this article, folks? Do you think you should make a reaction? Do you think that you should take this article and say, in another month, I better be buying because it's going to go up? What are your thoughts?
Mine,
Yep.
if you can buy, I
Hold
would
on, hold
take.
on, hold on, hold on.
Uh-huh.
I just heard my the dogs are going nuts outside, and I hear dog barks that aren't mine. So I think they've got it under control. I think they let the dogs out without looking to. Sorry,
Who
didn't mean to
lets
distract
dogs
you, but
out?
that could be problematic,
Okay. Yeah,
especially with
but
a puppy.
oh yeah, puppies are unruly. They're just all emotion, do. No training, no behavior patterns.
You know what? Check Stacker's here. Check
Hey, Jack.
Stacker, I know what you need to dress up for next Halloween. You need to get a giant blue mailbox, like the ones that are outside the post office.
Okay.
And then when people say, "What are you?" say, "Well, when they say the check's in the mail." Oh, come on, that's brilliant. I don't know why that came into my head.
Oh, good.
How you doing, Chuck? Good to see you, brother. Oh yeah, who let the dogs out? Well, I was hearing that. And I'm going, oh no, this is bad. Um, Tiger, did I tell you what kind of dog we found out that it was that we got?
Yeah, you told me it's a Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh yo, that thing. Eek! It's been horrid.
See, that's why you should have got a Black Russian Terrier.
I know. Well, my wife made the decision. So hey, you want me to show you something? Is there anybody in chat who would be offended by my new kind of the people who send me the best information on anti-counterfeiting, like the sites that are doing it? We're going to work on getting some of those shut down. So I've developed. I didn't actually develop this. I actually took something that somebody else developed, and I'm turning it into the counterfeiter award for the community member. The best stuff. You guys want to see that?
Okay. Oh yeah.
Anyway,
My God.
on the back of it says zero, zilch, not a none. I now have no F's to give. So that's going to be for the people who are monitoring the community, finding counterfeit stuff and turning it in and helping us identify stuff. If you report it to us, then I'm going to draw somebody from that thing, and we're gonna turn this uh, this this community into a giant counterfeit reporting thing. So once they're deemed to be so, it's just anyway, it's funny, something fun for people to get. Tiger's new channel round. There you go.
What about Tiger's new channel round?
That's going to be your new channel round. Oh,
Hey,
that's funny.
Joe, I thought you were my buddy.
Yeah, well, I just got them in today. I got a whole bunch of them, and yeah, lots of fun. Oh, you know what? I have had a hard time staying on topic today. I apologize, Tiger.
That's okay. You've been through the ringer, with everything.
What
So,
is your assessment? Should somebody make a determination to buy or sell based off of this article?
I would, based off the article, mm, it's kind of hard to say. I know how I would be if I had some extra disposable income. I would just go ahead and stack as best as you can. Especially right now, I would probably hold off until Black Friday comes. That'd be my personal viewpoint. But you know, we can't change what's going to happen. So I would still, outside of the Black Friday deals, I would say dollar cost average, unless you're really awesome at buying the dip, which most of us aren't. So buy when you can, when you think you can get a good deal in dollar cost average, and still keep stacking. Um, despite everything else, because when you buy, and ultimately when you have your exit strategy of selling or bartering, is the only time when fiat dollars matters with these precious metals. In the middle, it's a matter of how many ounces you have, not how many dollars you have. So that's the way I look at it.
One of the important things that you said is dollar cost average. If that's your focus, that's always a good strategy, right? If
Hmm.
silver drops low and it appears to be a good price for you, buy. If silver's climbing, if you want to buy, buy. Just, dollar cost average. Your goal is to have the lowest cost per ounce. That's what you really want to do, right? And I'm not, again, I took some profits when it comes to silver hitting $54. I was able to get a really good price just before they basically shut down. A lot of the stores couldn't buy anymore because so many people were selling.
Yeah.
But if I was to take that profit, and I did turn it into palladium, by the way, or platinum, but if I was to take that profit and have to buy it back now, it wouldn't have been a really smart move to sell it and then turn around and buy it at $2 higher. Now, that's not a really good strategy. So
Well,
if you're
if
going to
you,
hold it, dollar cost averaging is fine. If you're buying it to flip it, you need to reconsider your purchase of
yeah,
um,
you better be
silver.
good at the peaks and the dips. So I'm going to give it to you this way. I I l- love I love fractional. I do love fractional gold or silver, but I'm also a big fan of 10-ounce bars. Doesn't matter how they come. But when I bought this, it was considered a higher premium because it's made by a little mint. And I bought this in November 2024, and look at the price I got it at. Okay. At that time, that was a little bit on the pricey side. And now look at what it goes for. So it is uh, unless you have no choice. Well, I'm not going to say it that way. I'm not a financial advisor, neither is Frosty. Unless I have no choice, I'm not selling. If I have no choice, such as when I had sepsis and I have to pay the bills, and my wife and I have not been very good stewards of fiat currency. Okay, sell, pay the bills, keep the homestead going. So, and when, my income gives me some disposable, I'm going to go back to buying. And at these times, I lean more heavily into buying silver, but I'm not buying right now. So, you do it, you do you, I'll do me, Frosty do Frosty, and there you go.
Well, and again, yeah, so we're not financial advisors, right? We don't tell you what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. The whole premise of the discussion was to we can't make an assessment based off of that article, even though 95% of the information was correct. The one piece of information was critical, and that one critical piece of information was missing. The whole purpose for Tiger and I is talking about this today is to get you to understand that when you look at stuff, just because most of it seems good doesn't mean it's necessarily a good report. Go try to find the information yourself. Again, my number one piece of advice to people: act, don't react. Reactions are emotional. Stay away from the emotions when it comes to your money. Tiger and I have both talked a ton about how many mistakes we've made from emotional spending
True.
all through our lives. Stop. Consider. Look at what you're doing. Does it fit in your goal? Does it fit in your strategy? I've had a lot of people ask me, Frosty, why in the hell, as a numismatic channel, do you talk finance? Do you talk budget? Do you talk Bitcoin? Do you talk silver and gold? Why don't you just talk numismatics? Why don't you just do coin searches? Why don't you just look for errors and varieties? It's like, well, my job as a teacher is to provide you with the best possible information to make you a better stacker or a better collector. And that means we have to talk about some of those things that some of us were never taught.
Mm-hmm.
I understood to pay my bills, but that was the budgeting lesson I got. I never understood how to invest. I was never taught that as a kid. So if there are shortfalls in our system that cause us to spend more money or money needlessly, then wouldn't that be something that a person who has a collecting channel might want to teach about? Absolutely, right? And you'll see through some of my stuff coming up, I'm not your normal numismatic channel, right? Tiger and I, we don't sell stuff. We don't do auctions. We talked about it. He'd considered it, but it's about information. It's about protecting the community, and you need to be able to share all sorts of information. When we bring people, yeah, Sue, that's exactly right. A lot of people were never taught that in school. Tiger, were you ever taught budgeting in school?
A little bit. And a lot of us kids at the time thought it was a little weird, but there was once uh, a social studies teacher who did teach us a little bit, but it was like no more than like one or two classes, one or two lessons, and that was that. So no, we didn't get a whole lot of that.
I'm going to make a public service announcement really quickly. If any of you get constitutional coins from Vote for Pedro, don't lick the silver. Ugh. He
Oh
says,
my!
I get emotional when I fill my tub with Merc Dimes or pretend I'm Scrooge Duck. Yeah, don't lick that silver. That is a health concern. Oh, love you, Pedro. But again, you know, you can't throw it in the it's and I get what people say. Yoxnav said earlier, you know, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Um, there's a fundamental premise of why I don't necessarily subscribe to that, because there's a lot of things in life that just because you can't see them or physically hold them doesn't mean they don't exist. Um, and so, you know, we talk about that with faith. We talk about that with the air we breathe. So be careful getting stuck into that rut. If I don't own it, I don't hold it. That leads to FOMO, believe it or not. So be careful with that. Is that toning from tonight? Oh, eek. Oh, Pedro, you're horrible, brother. Tiger, this was a first attempt at trying to do this on Monday.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? What did you like doing this on Monday?
Actually, I do. I think the Monday, in my opinion, as someone who watches other people's channels as well as do my work and our work, Monday is kind of a boring day. There's not a whole lot there other than Salivate and who does his thing. Um, but there's not a whole lot to do on Monday. On Thursday, we got a lot of people doing a lot of things, and that then gets in the way of teaching a lot of people if they want to go see someone else, which is their right. But they'll, unless they come back to watch the live stream later, they're going to miss out. So I'm kind of leaning towards Mondays.
See, Mondays work really well for me. One reason we had to change from Thursdays is I have obligations to get my daughter home after she spends time at university. So I have
And
committed that time to her. And Tiger knows what I think about my daughter, making sure things are taken care of. So we are going to move these to Mondays moving forward unless something changes. Um, and again, let us know if you guys like this, if you guys enjoyed this day. I know there used to be live coin Q&A. Hopefully live coin Q&A can get back online. I know they've talked about doing it. They would go during this time frame, so we may have to shift an hour earlier. But if you guys like this, let us know. And again, if you guys have topics you want Tiger and I to talk about, or articles you want us to research and look into, like what today was, reach out to us, let us know. Because ultimately, again, we're about protecting the community, and we will try to do our due diligence. We've had some great talks the last couple of days about making sure we vet guests, really understand what's going on, having agendas. Tiger and I put together a full-on agenda for this one. Like, it was a full-on list of
Yeah.
stuff that we needed to talk about and where our resources were. And so we're really trying to bring you the best information we can. We might stumble from time to time, but again, we're fallible, we're human. But again, it's about community.
I got a question about you since you mentioned your daughter. Would it be a good idea for this Christmas to get her mittens about twice the size of her normal, two sizes bigger than her normal hands?
Say that one more time.
For Christmas, do you think it'd be a good idea for me to get her mittens are like maybe two sizes too big for her hands?
Um,
Or if
let,
you don't understand, I'll explain why.
well, I was thinking about my fat head, and she would need larger mittens to do that. Other than that, no, I don't know why.
Because she has you totally wrapped around her little finger. That takes up extra space.
Jackknife, do me a favor. Send me an email, exclamation point email. Okay, you'll see that email will pop up, and I will forward this article to you. If anybody wants the article, send me an email. You got the email there, and I'll forward that article to you if you want to read it. Again, all the information in the article is correct, but I just can't find that last piece. Michael Stacking, what's going on, bud? Yeah, and I'm sorry I showed the coin with you in here. I know you're whatever, but you can't help but laugh. If I send you one of those, you're gonna have to promise not to put it on your display for your live stream. Tiger, I will have to get you one of these. Well, I mean, come on, you know Michael and Nancy.
Yeah,
Having a giant
they have a,
FCAWF coin would not be
oh yeah.
tolerable. Yeah, thank you for vote for Pedro for throwing that in there. Tiger, do you have any closing remarks before we wrap up today?
Just my typical. If you like what you've seen today, make sure you hit the like, because it helps promote the channel and the live stream. And, please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to Frostbite. He does a lot of good work to support the community and to educate. And we both work really hard at trying to protect the community and educate. And like I said, he does it mostly from a numismatic type standpoint. I do a little bit more on the scientific, but the whole purpose is to get you all educated, protected, and we learn in the process. And if you'd be so kind, make sure to go over to Tiger Stacker, hit the subscribe. Anytime you hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave a comment. That way YouTube doesn't take you out thinking you're a bot. So because we both work really hard for all of you. So please come and visit both of us and, leave comments. If you like something we've done, if you don't like something we've done, if there's something you're really unhappy about, send us an email. We're here for you. So other than for that, all I gotta say is good night. Keep stacking and collecting, and we'll see you in 2 weeks when we do this on my channel.
I appreciate it. And folks, again, do me a favor. Oh, Frostbyte Coins, I finally figured out how to become a member with you. Oh, now, you know what's funny? There are 3 or 4 people that have tried and tried and tried and tried. I have done gifted memberships. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's gift 5 members out to people. Teacher, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, brother. Kim Campbell, Midler, Kansas Stacker, Invisible River, and Sharon Vaughn, you all got gifted memberships. And again, thank you for all the support of both Tiger and I. But the one thing, yeah, exactly. Send all complaints to Tiger and compliments to Frosty. See, there you go. Good job. Vote for Pedro.
Oh my God. Thanks, Pedro. Yeah.
Tiger Stacker just gifted 5. Smalg Magnificent. I like that, by the way. I like the dragons. The Andy Crunk, Rocky Mountain Bear, Liquid Electrum, and Roger Rod all got gifted memberships by Tiger Stacker. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So again, folks, please send me messages. Jack Knight, I got your email. I will forward that to you here in about 5 to 7 minutes. But just thank you so much for all of the support. And again, as Thanksgiving's just a couple days away, I'm going to ask you, aloha, Miss Aloha. Mahalo for being here. Michael Stacking, 21 months. And for the dad jokes. Yes, indeed. This Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, we're going to ask one thing. And that's if you drink, lose your keys. There are too many members of the community who are awesome people. And I don't want to lose any of you to drinking and driving. So please, during this holiday season, if you guys are going to drink, Ubers are cheap, designated drivers are cheap. And if you're in and around the San Antonio area and you need something, reach out to me and I'll personally come get you. I don't want to lose any friends during this holiday season, so please don't drink and drive. All right? Love you, folks. Take care of yourselves. Be well, be blessed. And you know what? We'll see you in the streams.